All right, we're back for the NRG Series MTGO Invitational. This is our first match on the right side of the bracket. You've seen the 8 players on the left side play their matches out, and 4 of them have advanced to the round of 8. And so for the next few days, we're going to be watching these players. And today, we have Zoe Riederman playing against Mark Johnson. And providing commentary for you today is myself, Joe Lossett, and I'm alongside Will Krueger again.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, my name is Will Krueger. I was actually fortunate enough to compete in this event. You can see my name. I squared off against Harrison Rollins in round 1 of this tournament.
Don't spoil your results, because I don't know the results yet.
I didn't say it. I wasn't going to say anything.
I know you didn't. I know. I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Because I do not know the outcome of these matches. You don't know the outcome of this match, although you obviously know what happened in your own match, but we'll get to that in about 4 days. In the meantime, we're going to see, like I said, Zoe Riederman plays versus Mark Johnson, and we're going to go ahead and take the deck list right now before we get the match started.
Yeah, so Zoe Riederman is playing Mono Red Prowess. It's pretty stock here. You can see the key cards are Monastery Swiftspear and Soulscar Mage. They're just 1-mana creatures that get +1/+1 whenever you cast a non-creature spell. And so Zoe's deck is filled with just a bunch of 1 mana and effectively 0 mana spells with Manamorphose. And so the goal is just to kind of chain those together, make them huge, give them Trample with Crash through, so that way you can kill them with that, and you can grind long with Bedlam Reveler and light up the stage.
All right, so I have a question here. We see a lot of 4-ofs, and yet we're playing 3 Runaway Steamkins and 1 Bone Crusher Giant. Is that kind of stock? Is that unusual to see only the 3rd Steamkin? Do you know anything about that?
I'm not overly familiar with Mono Red Prowess, and so I can't say that 3 Steamkins, 1 Bone Crusher Giant is exactly stock, but Bone Crusher Giant is a card that's really impressed me as playing both roles. Like, this deck really wants spells and creatures, right? You want to draw a good mix of those, and so if you need a threat, Bone Crusher Giant can be a threat. If you need a non-creature spell to trigger Prowess on your creatures, and Bone Crusher Giant is a little inefficient, but it can handle that, and usually the trade-off for flexibility in Magic is inefficiency, and, that's fine.
Okay, well, we'll see how it matches up against Mark Johnson, who is going to be playing Jund. I believe our second Jund deck that we've had so far in the event. This one kind of separates itself a little bit from the Jund deck we saw a few days ago, because we have 2 copies of Seasoned Pyromancer here alongside the typical Tarmogoyf, Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, and smattering of 1-for-1 discard and removal spells. Additionally, we have the Planeswalker suite of Liliana the Veil and Red and 6 to provide card advantage over time. Jund is just classic grind you down, hope to win, an 8 or 10 turn game with Tarmogoyf busting through an opponent who's been just beaten into oblivion. So we'll see how this plays out, because certainly Zoe is not planning on playing a 10 turn game. Will, who do you think has an edge between these 2 decks?
So I was talking about how Monastery Swiftspear and Soulscar Mage are just the key cards earlier in Mono Red Prowess, and Jund is really, really, really good at just killing 1-mana creatures. That said, Zoe does have 4 Bedlam Revelers, which is going to be basically an unbeatable endgame. So between those and Light Up the Stages, it's possible that she can handle getting 1-for-1 to bunch by Jund. It's really just going to depend on how things line up.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get the match started then. So here we see we're going to be on the Jund side of things for our perspective this match.
Yeah, this hand is definitely a keep for Mark. Just 2 discard spells to handle things early, and then Planeswalkers to clean up the late game.
Yeah, 2 discard spells and 2 Planeswalkers. That's great as long as there's only 1 creature threat. If there were multiple creatures, then Mark may fall behind early, but it looks like he's going to, on the fortunate end of things, as well, there are 2 creatures. Bedlam Reveler is not coming down anytime soon.
Yeah, and this Steamkin, Zoe's likely going to run it out on turn 2 if she manages to hit her second land drop, and Renin 6 would be disastrous if that happens. I do think that I would have mulliganed this hand from Zoe. No 1-mana creature. Maybe if she knew she was playing against Jund and she wanted to keep 7, that would make sense, but I don't believe we had open deck lists. So
yeah, we did not. Yeah, so she made this decision in the dark, and we see the choice being the Crash Through, which is notably, if your opponent is on just a single mana source, then yeah, we're just taking the cantrip to prevent her from being able to develop over the longer game, or at least I assume that's what Mark's thinking here.
Yeah, so this turn I would actually be kind of interested in just thoughts using the Bedlam Reveler. Reveler is going to basically require the Thoughtseize at some point, and then you really just want her to run out the Steamkin into the Wrenn and 6. But maybe that's just wrong, and you just want to set up the Wrenn to get the Liliana down next turn, and that way you don't have to mess with Wrenn, and you can limit her resources as effectively as possible.
I mean, it's definitely, there's some merit to doing things this way, like you're saying, to develop, but I agree with you, the idea of trying to pick off the runaway Steamkin for free is desirable, and I mean, if we're playing Thoughtseize this turn instead of Wrenn 6, I mean, it kind of, we slow ourselves down a little bit, but if we pick up a card in the process, maybe that's worth doing. And we see here, the second land was found, but Steam Kid did not come down because the Wrenn 6 was played first.
Yeah, I have to imagine if the Wrenn was in Mark's hand, the Steamkin would just come on the board, and she would just hope that he doesn't have it. But given that the Wrenn is on the board, she cannot possibly play it. She needs to draw a third land so she can play an instant in the same turn.
Right. Or potentially, I suppose, we could see a discard of Lava Dart and we do see that, to the Liliana. So now, even without a land drop, Zoe has the potential to grow the Steamkin in response to the Wrenn and 6.
Yeah, that would be good. But then the Liliana would tick down, and then she would be down a mountain when she's already a little constrained on mana. So that's probably not ideal, but...
I'm trying to give her a chance to develop a board here. We need some sort of plan going forward, as it's hard to just sit here and get ground down by the Planeswalkers, because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, this Lava Dart and the Liliana makes some sense to me. This is a really, really rough position for Zoe, though. She needs to get to this Bedlam Reveler, but I don't think she's going to get enough resources. On board, she's planning on discarding whatever her other card is to Liliana here, I assume, or just flashing back Lava Dart to kill the Liliana. But this Thoughtseize is going to take Bedlam Reveler, which I assume was her plan.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of... She's maneuvered this decently well and gotten the Liliana off the board. That Lightning Bolt off the top is brutal, because that Steamkin was actually going to survive otherwise. So that was actually... Zoe had put herself in a position here where there was some chances that she was going to be able to turn this game around, and now things are worse.
Yeah, this light up the stage with a land could potentially get her back into this thing, but we're reaching the point of the game where Wrenn and 6 is just going to threaten to -7, and then it's going to give Mark an emblem which will allow all of his lands to be Lightning Bolts or Inquisitions or Thoughtseizes or whatever he wants, really, which is just hugely problematic.
Yeah, there's almost no coming back for Wrenn 6 emblem, especially when the game states the way it is right now. Drawing Monastery Swift Spirit might be the best draw Zoe could have hoped for there, as it gets in a point, but the light of the stage gets to be cast this turn, which basically serves to keep her in the game. It doesn't necessarily put her ahead, but it keeps her functioning, keeps the game going.
Yeah. The problem is that the Wrenn is going to tick up to 7 here, and then the Raging Ravine is going to threaten to block this Monastery Swiftspear. But with any spell off the top that costs 2 or less mana, then Zoe will be able to make the Swiftspear a 3/4, which goes over the Ravine. But then the Wrenn emblem would basically be game over. So best draw would be like a Crash Through or something.
Well, we have a Lava Spike off of the light of the stage in suspension, so we can prevent the emblem. So this can hit Planeswalkers.
It could have hit Planeswalkers.
Interesting. So she's going for this.
I think this is a good line. I think this is just like playing to win, really. This is
exciting. If she hits a land here, she
has a dart in her bin. That's actually huge. I missed that. So she can put the Wrenn back down to 6 with the dart. So that's actually huge. And this Raging Ravine would just be a chump block that you would get to rebuy it with Wrenn.
Still,
let's see where she's going to attack.
Yeah, this game has become, I would say, fairly interesting. I'm kind of I'm into this now. I want to see what happens. So we are going to see the Raging Ravine activate to block here.
Yeah, and presumably we're just going to pick it up with Wrenn. Yeah, I thought Zoe was a goner, but I mean, I think she played well, and she picked up best possible draw, I think 1 or 2 turns in a row there. I guess not best possible. Bedlam Reveler would have been the best possible this turn, but that Swiss Spirit was huge deal.
Yeah, and she's still in this game, and that wasn't a guarantee. So we do see the recursion of the Raging Ravine. A replacement was drawn, but Mark is ready to go with that emblem. He has plenty of lands to discard to retrace. However, now it looks like maybe that emblem's not going to come too easily.
Yeah, a good draw here could really get Zoe back in this game. And you may notice that she sacrificed her Fiery Islet on Mark's end step instead of her main phase. She could have played a land if she'd drawn it, but she was playing around a discard spell, just like the Inquisition of Kozilek that's in Mark's hand. So it's a good play there.
Okay, so Swift Spear's coming in, and we found a spell. We found a Lightning Bolt. Okay.
It's going face, so presumably she has some way to take this Ren out of emblem range, but
yeah, I mean, is it possible that oh wow, okay, that was a lot of damage. So okay, so she drew a bolt and decided she's made the choice, and I think probably the correct one, that she's going to try and just shrug off the emblem and just win, as opposed to hold. No, I agree with the play too, but as opposed to trying to prevent the emblem, she's just going to try and ignore it. And it very well might work. I mean, she's got 18 life points. Well, okay, she's got 17 life points to play with, and is under no pressure really, aside from, I guess, a series of lightning bolts. But there's only gonna last for a little while. I'm not even sure that. Okay, well, Mark drew another land. I was gonna say I'm not even sure that we want to be burning off all of our lands in hand right away.
Yeah, I like firing off one there. But the second one I feel was maybe a little loose. But
I agree. Without having drawn another land here, the Raging Ravine probably would have had to stay back so that to potentially defend against a haste creature. And yet, Zoe draws another land, and Firebolt Flashback finishes the game off. That was an impressive game, and I think very well played.
Yeah, I agree. Well played by both players. I think maybe there was a small mistake at the end that didn't matter for Mark, just like I think that firing off the second Lightning Bolt from the graveyard was maybe not the best. But besides that, I thought everybody played quite well.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll take the sideboards here. You're up first on what's Zoe got changed this time.
Yeah, so Zoe's going to go ahead and bring in 3 Blood Moons and a Dismember for 4 Lava Spikes. Dismember is going to go ahead and kill Tarmogoyf a lot of the time. Tarmogoyf is a really effective roadblock against this Prowess deck. It's just bigger than all your creatures. Scavenging Ooze is also a huge pain if Mark plays that. She doesn't know if he does play it or not. And Blood Moon, Jund is a 3-color mana base, and while they will be able to fetch around it sometimes their hand is just like Raging Ravines and Blackleaf Cliffs. And even then, if you can just cut them off black or green, not necessarily both, that can still be good. And Lava Spike, when you're trying to just 1-for-1 and just outgrind them, then Lava Spike is not really the kind of card you want. Because if you imagine the situation where both players are at like 10, 12 life, you're top decking, you draw a Lava Spike, it does nothing, right? Then Jund draws Tarmogoyf, that's like a Lava Spike every single turn that blocks. Like,
yeah, okay, so on Mark Johnson's side, you can see we've got a collection of land disruption spells as well as Ashiok. So we've got a lot of cards to slow down the ramp decks, and then a smattering of removal and mid-range creatures. So what he chose to do here is he brought in the 2 Collective Brutality, 1 Hunt Master of the Fells, which is one of my all-time favorite cards, and removed 1 Dark Confidant, 1 Red and 6, and 1 Liliana of the Veil. So we brought in basically every card in our sideboard that has the potential to gain life, which makes some sense to me. And removed cards that kind of are, well, Dark Confidant does damage to ourselves. That's certainly not what we're in the mood for. And Liliana and Ren 6, the Planeswalkers, just kind of slow. Takes a while to build up advantage. I do kind of like the Ren 6 on the play, but there are still 2 in the deck. He only removed 1. So we'll see if this shapes up a little bit better here. I feel like if I had to say who's improved in the matchup with boarding, I feel like those Blood Moons kind of trump whatever Mark are just stronger than whatever Mark's doing. So Zoe's up a game, and what do you think? I kind of like her chances of picking up one of the next 2.
I agree with that, especially when you consider that we're not playing against Burn here. We're playing against Prowess, and so Collective Brutality, it's going to try to kill a creature a lot of the time, and a lot of the time it's going to fail, especially if Zoe's on the ball about playing around it. She's going to have the ability to make her 1/2s become 2/3s very easily with any of her, I don't know how many instances she plays exactly, probably like 20 or whatever. Something that costs 0 mana with Lava Dart, or 1 mana for Lightning Bolt, or something similar.
All right, so here we go for game 2 with Mark on the play, presumably this time.
Yeah, and this hand is excellent. Very easy to keep for Mark. Thoughtseize is not great in the matchup, but if he feels that that's his only way to attack Bedlam Reveler, then it makes sense.
And Tarmogoyf is great in the matchup. We didn't see one last game, and that should help quite a bit. Again, it's nice with the Thoughtseize to set up the Ren in 6 or just to have information about what potentially you might want to do. We didn't take advantage of that last game, but still it's nice to be able to kind of predict what the plays are going to be over the first couple turns.
Yeah, Zoe's 7 looks really, really strong. Only one land. Did she draw the Swift Spear? I think she drew the Swift Spear, which is kind of awkward. Thoughtseize the 1-mana creature, draw another 1-mana creature.
I mean, there was only one land last game also, and she won that one, right?
She did, yeah. Maybe I'm underestimating how many 1-land hands you can keep with this deck. But to light up the stage, yeah, she's going to need to draw a land probably this turn, but a Dismember on this Goyf would allow her to get through for some damage. So maybe, since Mark knows about that, he'll just go ahead and Assassin's Trophy the Swift Spear, but then Zoe gets a land. So there's a lot of back and forth here.
A lot of choices. Considering we're 2 turns into this game, or on the second turn, there's definitely a lot of considerations here for Mark, and some of this might, experience in the matchup might be valuable here. As do you feel like, for example, trading the Swift Spirit for a mountain is good for you or not? Do you feel like throwing down a Tarmogoyf that's really well? I guess we did draw Verdant Catacombs. Or no, we didn't. That's an Overgrown Tomb. So not drawing a fetch land this game has actually hurt, I would say, a decent amount, as this Tarmogoyf is not going to be as big as Mark would be hoping.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go ahead and... he's going to go for the Ren in 6. Okay, that makes sense. Just get something going, and Assassin's Trophying is not great. One play that you could make is take the damage, and then Assassin's Trophy end of turn, because then she wouldn't have access to the second mana this turn. But the problem with that is that then Zoe would get to light up the stage. So there's really this crazy rock and a hard place here for this Assassin's Trophy.
Mm-hmm. Also, one other advantage of playing the Ren 6 is if it draws the Swift Spear over to it, then the light up stage will not be able to be cast for 1 mana.
Yeah.
Most likely, Zoe would choose to cast a light up the stage, so really we're just getting the Planeswalker on the board to not, and is not going to be attacked, so it can just start building up loyalty, which isn't the worst thing either. So we do see an attack and light up the stage, and definitely Zoe's going to be hoping to hit a land here, and it does not appear that she did.
I don't think she did, but I think she
drew
one.
One for the turn, yeah. And that's kind of the way these decks develop, is if you're going to be light the staging, you wait until the light stage resolves before you don't play a land from your hand. You wait first to see whether you hit on the light stage or not.
Right. Hitting Bedlam Reveler there is a real bummer. I think Mark might actually be obligated to take this Blood Moon, otherwise he just can't cast spells for the rest of the game, which is
that makes
awkward.
It hard.
Hitting that Bedlam Reveler off of the light up stage is kind of brutal, because it's going to be, I think, basically impossible for Zoe to play it on her coming turn unless she chains like a bunch of mana morphoses in a row. But yeah, I mean, you want to take this Dismember so that Goyf can get in play, but if you take the Dismember, or if you take the Dismember, then Zoe can go ahead and Firebolt plus Lightning Bolt your Tarmogoyf, and then lock you out of the game just for good with Blood Moon, unless you can engineer a spot where you have black-green open for the rest of the game. But I don't know if you could double Stone Rain yourself like that to keep holding up trophy for this moon forever.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm on the camp of taking the Blood Moon here, because it's just long-term devastating if it hits the board. Mm-hmm. And it basically, it's just like you're saying, you just have to hold up the trophy. So basically, it's taxing you for 2 mana forever, and that's just that's a hard way to play.
If you take the Blood Moon and you trophy the Swift Spear, you're actually in like a pretty reasonable spot if Zoe doesn't top deck light up the stage or Bedlam Reveler, right? Like, she doesn't have anything going. She's got 5 points of burn, but you're just both top decking effectively. So I think I would take the Blood Moon here.
Yeah. So definitely, Mark's putting some thought into this, and let's see if he's come to a decision yet.
Definitely taking his time on this one.
Yeah. Well, it's important. I mean,
it is really important.
The Blood Moon is a real threat, and yet the Tarmogoyf is worth quite a bit. If you take the Dismember, like you're saying, play the Tarmogoyf, then you kind of have to win off the Tarmogoyf plus Ren in 6. That's not impossible, but it's hard to be confident that that's going to work.
Yeah, it is not great, especially considering that the Ren just doesn't actually do anything on this board. Like, it doesn't deal 1 damage to anything relevant. It can go face, I guess, but that's not anything, and it doesn't pick up a land. So it's like the Ren doesn't do anything. It's just the Tarmogoyf would have to hard carry you. And
Mark would almost be better off if the Ren 6 died. So the Tarmogoyf would be bigger.
Yeah, that would be great. And he could actually wait to play the Tarmogoyf until Tarmogoyf would be a 5/6. Okay, so he took the Dismember. I do not like this line very much from him. If she doesn't have land 3 rolled up, so it's not a guarantee that he gets mooned this turn, and he can hold up Trophy Fort for the rest of the game. Okay, well now he's going to get Blood Moon. That's really bad.
Okay,
that was what he was hoping to avoid.
Yeah, and this was a risk that he knew with the decision he made, and this was the downside of that risk. Draws a forest immediately. So, okay.
That's was helpful.
Yes.
We do need a swamp to cast this trophy.
Yeah, it's not enough, but it's better than drawing virtually any other card in the deck, which would be uncastable at this point. We're now online to be able to... We could, for example, cast Huntmaster of the Fells if we drew it.
Yeah, Huntmaster or Bloodbraid would be the big ones, I think.
Another Tarmogoyf. I think we've just covered all the castable spells, but still, all of those would be helpful.
He could cast another Renin 6, which would,
grow the Tarmogoyf.
Grow the dead Tarmogoyf.
And if grow the Tarmogoyf would have been useful, as it is now was too small to a pair of burn spells take it down, and so now we're in a spot where we're facing down not a ton of pressure. We're at 7 life, but
I mean, we can't cast any of our spells. Like, we need to draw Bloodbraid Elf for Huntmaster, like, exactly, or Goyf.
That's problematic.
Yeah, I like Zoe's spot a lot.
Not being able to cast any of our spells, or at least 70% of our spells, is uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And she drew Battle Miller. Wow. Her draw steps this match have been awesome, but I also think her play has been awesome. So it's like, oh, man. Ugh.
This is...
I don't like going after the Ren here, I don't think. I think it actually just doesn't do anything at all, right? I mean, Mountain, the perfect basic. What a tease, man.
That's kind of just... I mean, the deck is just, laughing at Mark now. It's just like, okay, I heard you need a basic land. Here you go. How specific were you when you made your request?
It's like when you're like asking land, and you just draw like your fast land and you needed to cast your 4-mana spell or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this one is...
That's nice. This is the 3, 4, 5, 6. So any spell would finish the game. Any haste creature would finish the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Mark
even
is
then...
not even going to wait. He's just going to admit that the 6 damage is going to basically light him up next turn. Not even make her go through the motions of finding anything else to do. And Zoe Riederman wins the match, and she's the first player on the right side of the bracket to advance into the round of 8. So congratulations to her. Mark Johnson, thank you for playing. And for those of you watching, thank you for being here for the NRG Series MTGO Invitational. We will be back in the forthcoming days with the next few rounds, the rest of the right side of the bracket. In the meantime, I want to mention KMC, which is one of the sponsors for this event. KMC is providing sleeves, Perfect Fits, I believe, and outers to the top 4 players of the tournament. And also, they have their products are available at all NRG Series events in paper once things resume. Once we're able to resume normal operations, sometime during the fall, summer, winter. Maybe 4 years from now. We'll unknown at this point. Yeah, at some point in the future. Anyway, NerdRageGaming.com is where you can find singles potentially you're looking for if you're wanting to outfit your commander decks to play during this period of confinement. Things are still running at the shop, so if you're looking to buy and sell collections, get in touch on NerdRageGaming.com, and we can hopefully fulfill whatever needs you may have. So that's it for the for today's broadcast. So Will, thanks for being here, and maybe we'll bring you back. Yeah, maybe we'll bring you back out for a future round again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tomorrow's match will be John Ryan Hamilton versus TJ Rogers as we move to the right side of the bracket. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.